This coffee is $15.
This coffee is $150.
Now, why would you ever spend that much for a bag of coffee?
Today, we're gonna find out in a blind taste test.
We are going to brew these two coffees side by side and discuss the look, the taste, the smell, most importantly, the feel.
It will be a blind test. We're gonna actually do this coffee right here. This is Laughing Man Coffee. It's actually Hugh Jackman's coffee brand. It's right around the $15, $16 mark, so it's affordable for most people. This one right here is $150, very much a marketed luxury coffee from Onyx. It is a Yemen Khanshali 1 ASD. So today, we're gonna see how they stack up against each other and if the difference is worth it.
Let's get right into it and talk about how the beans look. What are your initial impressions of these beans?
They look very beautiful. The roast is very even across the board. They look like they haven't really been touched too much.
Except right now by you.
Except right now, so that's unfortunate.
That's like minus $10 right there.
It actually loses its value the more I touch it. So it's like driving a new car off the lot. One thing to know with these beans is that they smell absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever smelled beans that have just this amazing bouquet of flavor. Fruit and chocolate and nougat, everything is so clear and lucid in your olfactory senses. It's just wonderful. If this is a $16, $15 coffee, I will buy this coffee every single day for the rest of my life.
Now for our second mystery coffee.
So these ones right here, impressions, they don't look too bad. They don't look amazing. Now the roast is nice and it's pretty even for a dark roast actually. It looks pretty good. The beans themselves actually look pretty good. They're nice, they're good size. I'd say as far as the smell, it's better than an average dark roast for certain. I would say that this is better than just a regular grocery store coffee, definitely. They're not quite as glossy, which is nice in my opinion. That's just a preference of mine. But aromatically, it doesn't smell burnt, it doesn't smell charred.
I'd say they look and smell actually really good, just nothing outstanding, nothing super impressive.
Nothing of a higher echelon, perhaps. Let's go ahead and move on to the blind taste test.
We are brewed up and ready to go. Moving on into the tasting.
I don't know which cup is which here, so we're gonna go ahead and start out the blind taste test with the closest one to me. So let's get right into it. I get notes of like dark chocolate, of baker's spice, almost a little bit of cinnamon or graham cracker on this. So it's actually a pretty decent coffee. It's pretty good actually. I do like this. I am a big fan of dark roasts. I think this is a dark roast. I would buy this, I would enjoy it. It's a solid coffee here. Next one we have is, wow. What am I doing? This is phenomenal. It tastes a lot like it smells, and it has a very lovely floral introduction. You get some nice, rich berry notes, almost like a blackberry or like a raspberry. And then you get that lovely, nice, nougaty milk chocolate caramel finish, and it just lingers. This is a beautiful coffee, actually.
So if you had to describe this in one word, what would it be?
I would say this is immaculate. It's just a cornucopia of flavors. There is just endless flavor. There's a ton to pick out in this coffee. It's very complex. It's an experience, I would say. One of the best coffees I've tried in my life.
Now, if you had to describe the first one in one word, what would that be?
Good, but not great. I would say that it's slightly above average as a roast. I'm gonna go ahead and wager that this might be a dark roast. I'm gonna say that it's better than most dark roasts I've tried, but it's not phenomenal. I'm not jumping out of my chair for this coffee, but it could be a good daily driver. I could see that.
Probably pretty obvious by now which one you think is which, but what's your final guess here?
So I'm gonna guess, based on that taste and based on the smell, that this is the $150 coffee, and this right here is the $15 coffee.
Do you think it's justified to pay 10 times what you would pay for this experience versus this experience?
If you're looking for something that is unlike anything else that you've ever tried in your life, and especially in terms of coffee, I think that it's at least worth trying once. And I would even say if you can't afford it, it's worth repeat visits. It's just such a beautiful coffee, adds such a pleasant, rich experience to your morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you drink coffee. And it just envelops you in another world, and it just invites you to stay there and linger there and to spend time there. It's an experience, it's an escape, and it's something that's entirely other than what you would expect from coffee. So do I think it's worth it? Yeah,
Now tell me if you think this is a good analogy. Something like a cheap car versus an expensive car. They perform the same function.
Right.
They both get you from point A to point B, both have 4 wheels, etc. But there's a reason people buy expensive cars. There's a reason people like to spend time inside of expensive cars and show them off, etc.
I would say that this is maybe something like a Rolls Royce, and this is maybe like a Toyota, like long-term, reliable, nothing crazy, nothing fancy, no bells and whistles. This is something that is luxurious.
This gets you from point A to point B, but this gets you from point A to point B in style. Question: would you rather have 10 bags of this, or would you rather have 1 bag of this?
Unquestionably, I'd rather have 1 bag of this.
And you would just drink it 1 bean at a time to make it last, or what?
I would measure it out very thoroughly to make it last, and I would get the most out of this bag and from each extraction that I possibly could. It's something that forces you in a lot of ways to consider how you're brewing it, the brewing method, that maybe you need to get a certain kind of grinder for that grinds more consistently. With that being said too, it might come with a hardware upgrade to be able to get the most out of a coffee like this. Whereas this, you could just brew it any way you want to, and it's gonna be consistent. It'll taste pretty good, you know, and you'll enjoy it. But it's not gonna give you the same degree of euphoria that this coffee is going to give you.
It's like the coffee's kind of leading you in a direction.
It's almost like going to a fine art museum when you see like some of the great works throughout history, and you just linger in front of a painting that just strikes you, and you just linger there and you pick out all of the little details. You see every little brush stroke, every piece that the artist wants you to see, and you look at it, you analyze the message. What does it say to you? How is it speaking to you? It just invites you to stand there and look for maybe hours even. And this is that kind of coffee, in my opinion. It's a beautiful coffee. It's one that makes you even question just how good can it get? And when you think it can't get any better, it does.
Well, you see what this coffee did to him. You seem like a different person from when we first started.
It changes you.
I think that about wraps it up. Let us know if you've tried any expensive coffees, or perhaps what's the most expensive one you've tried. And if you have any recommendations, please let us know.
Yeah, so go ahead and leave a comment below. Please consider subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot, and it allows us to make more videos like this for you, so you get to see them. After an experience like this, I think there's only one thing that I can really suggest to you.
With the slight crack in your voice.
With a slight crack in my voice. I'm getting a little emotional, guys, if you couldn't tell. But I really want to urge you as strongly as I can, and as profoundly as it might, or even as simply as it might seem. Sometimes the most profound things are simple. I just want to urge you to keep using your whole brain.